All right, y'all. It is Tuesday. And I got some good news to tell y'all. All right. So last week, kind of discussed just a couple things in regards to budgeting, and hopefully everybody is still staying on track with financial fitness. We're saying move to brokenness. We're going to change our ways financially. All right, and so while reading, I told you guys that I was reading this book. It's called Secrets of Six-Figure Women. And in the book, they discuss, different tactics that women who own six figures have done to continue to be successful in their financials. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. Hopefully, y'all learned some things here. Okay. And so inside of the book, they discuss different things on how to handle your finances. And it was surprising to me that some of the ladies that earned six figures or more, even people that had earned close to $1 million, always felt that they still didn't have a lot of money. They still felt broke at the end of the day. Even some of them told stories about how they felt that if they didn't pay their rent, they were going to be kicked out on the street. And just imagine, you're earning six figures and you feel this way. Depending on where you live, that can make a big difference too. But just know that there are people who earn a lot of money that still did not realize that they weren't managing their money properly. Okay, and so I'm going to play a little snippet from that video. But right now, I kind of just want to discuss three things that I found would be helpful to you all, which were helpful to me as well. One of the things that they discussed was just being able to compartmentalize, which means just to put money in different places so that you're able to save it, because it'll be easy for you. Again, we talked about accounts before, but it'll be easy for you just to get your check, take it, and put it in one account. And in that one account, you're using that account for everything. You're using it for paying your bills. You're using it for the money that you spend regularly. You're using it for even sometimes, for saving. And at the end of the day, that's just not the best way to do things. Again, when I talked about the financial piece, I said you want to have a couple different accounts set up so that you'll be able to manage your money properly, okay? And so you want to have a personal account, which is your money, the money that you pay your bills out of, the monies that you use to pay your bills. You want to utilize that account for that. But you also want to have a savings account. A savings account, this account can actually be attached to your personal account. But I would say the best savings account that I've ever had, which was about 5 years ago, and now that I'm talking about it, I'm definitely going to go back to doing it that route, was one that was not accessible for me. There was no debit card for this account. There was, this financial institution only gave me 5 checks, which were only to be used for emergencies, okay? And so it was better to have an account that you couldn't pull the money out of right away, okay? And that makes it easier to save, because if you don't see it, then you are not always, amped to use it, okay? And so I felt like that was the best thing for me, because I was taking at least 10% of whatever it was that I that I made, and that money was just taken directly from my account and sent somewhere else that I couldn't access right away. Okay, and so with that, sometimes out of sight, out of mind will really come into play with this one. And I feel like that was the best way to go, because I can have a savings account attached to my personal checking account. But with that, I can always transfer money from my savings into my personal account, which I did a lot of, and that's why I no longer have that savings account attached to my personal account. Was because it still felt like I just had the money and I can get to the money, and there was no point in me really saving if I can access the money, unless you have really good management skills and you're very strict on your money, you can do that. But I felt that the best way to go was to have an account that you don't have access to. Okay, and so I have a couple of different accounts. I have a personal account. I also run a business in which I have 4 different accounts attached to that. So it's going to be the money that I use to pay out for business regularly, an escrow account, which I can't really touch. There's no card attached to that. Another business savings account, which sometimes houses the money that I need to pay for taxes and things like that. And then I have another account that I would pay the owners out of as well, and that just keeps all of my money separate. So I like it that way on the business side, but I really need to get back to doing that on the personal side. So for me, a couple years ago, I started investing on the Capital One, in stocks. And so I would just buy a little bit, but I was also having them pull a certain amount of money out of my account and attaching it to that stock account so that I can kind of play with my money then. And I left money there, and then whenever I would go in, I would see, a stock price, something that I would be interested in, and then I'll buy one of that and one of something else. So over the years, I have saw that little bit of money just kind of grow. Even though it's kind of like small growth, you're still making money for money that I put there about 3 to 5 years ago. So it was beneficial to me to be able to do that. So that's another way that you can save. When I was listening to the book, they talked about having all of those things. So like I said, I put some things in place years ago. So that was that stock investing account. That was that off-site savings account, which I don't have access to. And then I also have the personal account, and everything for my business is separate. So in having all of those different accounts set up, you're not just putting all of your money into one place. You're actually dividing it up, and then you're not trying to, you aren't as amped to spend from multiple places as you would be for one. You carry your personal debit card everywhere. So if all of your money is there, you just swipe, 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 and you're just spending it all. But if it's in separate, different accounts, then you're not gonna be doing that. So it's easier for you to save. And like I said, out of sight, out of mind works a little bit easier for some people. So I'm gonna see if I can play this. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna see if I can play this little thing that was good for me. So let's see if I can play it. Because it was interesting just to know that, there are people at higher levels that make a lot of money that still don't have money management skills.
Like to make 6 figures. Her response wasn't at all what I expected. It's astounding to me that I can earn this much and still not feel like I have any money, she declared. Even more astounding was how many other high earners would tell me they felt exactly the same way. It didn't matter if they were married or single, or that they were earning more than 99% of the people on this planet. Very few women told me they felt rich. And the sad fact is, very few are. Less than half of the 6-figure women I spoke to had a net worth over $1 million. Far fewer if you didn't count their home. Fewer still could afford to stop working, even years down the road. Clara, a corporate director, awkwardly admitted, "I know people would laugh and say, 'What? You can't live on $650,000? But I feel one step away from a refrigerator carton on the street.' How is that possible?" I asked Clara when she told me she didn't have enough to retire. She answered, "I never thought about my future. I just figured I'd be taken care of."
Sorry.
Now that I'm nearing 50, it's like, oh, maybe I should start doing something. It became increasingly apparent in the course of these conversations that making a lot of money is very different from having a lot of money. As such, I noticed six-figure women fell into two distinct categories. The majority were modest accumulators, high earners who spent too much and saved too little. Their ample earnings gave them the illusion, but not the security or freedom, of affluence. The second and much smaller group was the wealth builders. These women had both substantial salaries and sizable bank balances. They didn't give them the illusion. As such,
basically what she was just saying is that, you know, money management plays a role in no matter how much money you can make the smallest amount of money. They talked about a librarian who only made a little bit of money, but she was putting the money that she had, she would take like $500 and invest it in different stocks, and that money grew over years. So when she got ready to retire, she had millions of dollars. And not only that, she had millions of dollars to pass on to her family. So just imagine a librarian that only makes $30,000, but she's taking just a little bit of money and investing it. And she was also a good saver. So she would still take a portion of her income and put that to the side and save it, but she was also investing it too. So we want to just make sure that you know, we're doing whatever is necessary to kind of put some money aside, so that we're not, you know, when we get ready to retire, or even 2 years from now, we're not still claiming broke, even though we go to work every day. So I hope that this has worked for you. Again, you just want to make sure that you're setting up different accounts. The best account to set up is one that is not accessible, and then to put your money away in. And if you are thinking about investing, you know, invest where you can, whether that be in real estate, whether that be in stocks. Do whatever it is that you can. There's no amount of money that is too small to begin with, because you, again, are putting that money away for the future. So you can grow a small amount of money versus thinking you have to have this lump sum of money in order to grow over the years. So I do hope that this has helped somebody. And again, hopefully we're staying on track with our budgets. I know I'm staying on track the best way that I know how, which is my $100 a week plan. And it's actually been beneficial to me, just watching how I'm spending money and just being mindful, even though I kind of tricked a couple people into buying me things that I really wanted that weren't in my budget. But again, I was utilizing other resources to get what I wanted, so instead of just spending the money. So again, I just hope that this helps somebody, and in me helping somebody, I hope that you'll help somebody as well. But enjoy the rest of your day moving forward.